This vase has only just resurfaced after almost 70 years, lost in Europe. We've rediscovered it in Central Europe, in a mansion in the middle of nowhere, crowded with pets, and it survived in near pristine condition all these years. I received an email, was it last year, middle or later last year, from someone I didn't know, who said he just came across this vase. I didn't expect too much while opening, but when I opened the image, objects, most of them, don't lie very well. And this particular piece, just the quality of the painting, quality of the modeling, the fact that this is not a vase that is a pendant to something in the palace or something in the British Museum, this is totally unique. It's very hard. Some things are easy to copy, but this, to produce something unique and harmonious, is a very, very difficult exercise that most fakers won't even attempt. But anyway, just the general quality of it, and the slight bubbling of some of the enamels, little things like that are so characteristic of what you would expect from the period, convinced me this was a genuine object. So I immediately, after receiving this email from Johan, Bosch van Rosenthal, this art consultant based in Amsterdam, I jumped on the flight as soon as possible on a plane, traveled to this place and examined it in the flesh. And then when we got it back here in Hong Kong, we undertook the task with someone we work with regularly to clean the vase because it was so dusty. You could imagine 70 some years of dust lodging, on the inside. It was a very delicate job of just having it cleaned. And what I hadn't seen, what I hadn't imagined originally, is how bright the enamels would come up, because it was quite dull when it arrived. It was just pure dust and dirt settling on this object for so many decades. So we were very, very pleased having just completed the cleaning of the vase and to see the enamels fresh like on the first day. The decoration that you find around the neck, this color ground heightened with sgraffiato, you can see that incised foliage, and these beautifully bright and vibrant floral designs, that is harking back to, both in technology and in design, to what is happening at the European courts exactly at that precise time. And these trends, the technology and the aesthetic trends, were brought in by Jesuit missionaries working at the court of Emperor Qianlong. And so the outside here, that reticulated border, that is made out of celadon, so that green glaze, which is represents the greatest of the Song dynasty in ceramic art. But the way the panels are modeled hark back to archaic jades. You can see the style of the dragons and the scrolling bodies. Likewise, the particular technique of reticulation, that is something that you would expect from bronzes of the Eastern Han dynasty. And the prototype itself of a reticulated vase with celadon is something that you find again in the Song dynasty, first developed at the Guan kilns in Hangzhou, and developed just a little bit later, or maybe right at the same time, at the Longquan kilns nearby. And what you'll find here is the mark of Emperor Qianlong in iron red. Now that's a mark that is typical to the very first years of the Qianlong reign. The Qianlong reign is a very long reign, close to 60 years. And vases of this type are recorded to have been made and delivered between the 7th and 8th year of the Qianlong reign. which corresponds to 1742 and 1743. There was a batch of these reticulated vases that was delivered in 1743, and this particular vase was precisely described in an archive, and so we know exactly when it was made, when it was delivered, and where it lived. Emperor Qianlong, upon examining all these reticulated vases when they were delivered by Tang Ying to the court, marveled at how beautiful they were and called them masterworks. And so he had these pieces, his group of pieces, including this particular vase, stored at the Qianqing, which is a very important hall at the Forbidden City, where the emperor entertained foreign envoys. So from a symbolic point of view, this is China, how China projects itself to the world. And so this vase that tells, in a way, the whole history of Chinese art was something to be displayed at the greatest banquets, most important banquets of the emperor.